Ma'am, I said, step away from the vehicle. Tanya froze, her hand still gripping the damp microfiber towel. Officer, she said carefully, this is my car. Before he could respond, a voice cut through from behind him, sharp, self-assured, and trembling with accusation. There she goes again. I told you she was trying to steal it. I knew something was wrong when I saw her washing it like she owned it. Tanya didn't even have to turn. She knew that voice. Cheryl Donovan, her neighbor, self-appointed HOA watchdog, and the one person who somehow found fault with everyone but herself. Mrs. Donovan, the officer said, turning slightly toward her, let's just verify ownership before we make any assumptions. Oh, there's no mistake, Cheryl snapped, folding her arms. That car used to belong to the Bensons. I remember because they always had it parked right across the street. She doesn't live there. I know every family on this block. Tanya exhaled slowly, fighting the burn rising in her chest. I live at 208 Meadow Court. That's my house, she said, pointing toward her green front door. Cheryl's expression didn't change. I've lived here 22 years, and I've never seen you before this spring. That tells me everything I need to know. The officer approached Tanya cautiously. Ma'am, could I please see your ID and registration? She handed them over without another word. Her name matched the title. Her address matched the street. Every detail was in perfect order. After a long pause, the officer sighed. Everything checks out, Mrs. Donovan. This car belongs to her. Cheryl blinked rapidly. That can't be right. It is, the officer said firmly. Now, unless there's anything else, let's all calm down. But Cheryl wasn't done. No, Tanya interrupted, her voice low but steady. You've done enough. The neighbors who had gathered, the ones pretending to water their lawns or check their mail, began drifting away, their curiosity sated. The sound of sprinklers replaced the whispers. The officer gave Tanya an apologetic nod and left. When the cruiser turned the corner, silence settled in. Tanya bent down, wrung the towel in her hands, and went back to wiping her car. Her fingers trembled, but her face didn't. That night she couldn't sleep. The incident replayed in her mind in cruel clarity. Cheryl's tone, the stares, the way her own street had turned into a stage. Her phone buzzed on the table beside her, a message from her friend and neighbor, Maria. Hey, Tanya, you okay? Cheryl posted something weird in the HOA chat about a car theft situation earlier. Just wanted to check on you. Tanya's chest tightened. Car theft situation? She opened the HOA chat. 68 members, all neighbors. There it was, a post from Cheryl. Reminder to remain vigilant. We had a potential vehicle dispute this morning involving an unidentified person. Police were called. Let's stay safe and watch for suspicious behavior. Unidentified person, suspicious behavior. Tanya closed her eyes. It wasn't enough that Cheryl had humiliated her in public. Now she was painting her as a criminal online. For the first time that night, Tanya didn't feel fear. She felt clarity. The next morning, Tanya stepped outside early. The dew glistened on the grass, and sunlight bounced off her spotless Lexus. She started her phone's camera, leaned on the hood, and began to speak. My name is Tanya Rhodes. I live at 208 Meadow Court. Yesterday, my neighbor accused me of stealing my own car. Here's what really happened. No anger, no yelling, just truth. Calm, direct, undeniable. She uploaded the video and went about her day, thinking maybe a few locals would see it. But by noon, the views had jumped past 10,000. By evening, 50,000. The comments were flooded with support. This is heartbreaking. You handled that with so much grace. I hope that woman's HOA sees this. And they did. 2 days later, Tanya noticed something strange. A white sedan parked across from her house, engine idling. Then another the same day. Different car, same spot. She didn't panic, she simply took note. Later that evening, as she walked to get her mail, Cheryl was there, pretending to prune her flowers, phone in hand. Lovely weather, Tanya said evenly. Cheryl's mouth twitched. Yes, I suppose it is. Must be nice having so much attention online, huh? Tanya tilted her head. Not sure what you mean. Oh, please, Cheryl said with a tight smile. You made quite a scene. All that drama for a few likes. We're a private community, not a circus. Then maybe you should have thought of that before calling the police, Tanya replied quietly. Cheryl's eyes flashed. You think you're the victim here, but you've embarrassed all of us. Brookmere isn't about race or class. It's about standards. Tanya gave a small nod. I see. She stepped closer, her tone soft but pointed. Tell me, Cheryl, who decided which standards apply to who? For once, Cheryl had no answer. That night, Tanya's inbox filled with messages, some from supporters, others from reporters, and one from a journalist named Renee Carter, who wrote for a Charlotte community paper. Ms. Rhodes, I saw your video. Would you be willing to talk about how HOAs handle complaints like this? Stories like yours matter. Tanya hesitated. She hadn't planned on becoming a story, but maybe this wasn't just about her anymore. She agreed to meet the next morning. When she woke, her phone had dozens of notifications. A new page had appeared online, Brookmere Watch. It used the same HOA logo, and its first post read, Recent viral video misrepresents our community. We maintain high standards and expect residents to respect them. The second post was a blurry photo of her car, with her in it. Suspicious activity continues. Residents should remain alert. Her blood ran cold. Cheryl wasn't backing down. She opened her camera again and hit record. Day 3, she said quietly. Now they're calling me suspicious activity. Maybe it's time I stop explaining and start showing what really happens here. She turned the camera toward her street. The empty lawns, the half-drawn blinds, the same car parked at the corner watching her. This isn't about a car, she said. It's about control. She paused, looking straight into the lens. And I'm done being quiet. She hit upload. By the next morning, her video had doubled in views again. The HOA chat was in chaos. Some neighbors defended her. Others demanded she take it down. Cheryl posted a statement denying involvement in any targeted harassment. But it was too late. The comments had turned, not just against Cheryl, but against the entire board. And that's when Tanya got the call. It was from Renee, the journalist. Her voice was urgent. Tanya, you might want to sit down, she said. I started digging into your HOA. There's something here. Financial irregularities, selective fines, hidden complaints. Your story opened a floodgate. Tanya's breath caught. What are you saying? I'm saying, Renee replied, this isn't just about prejudice anymore. It's about corruption. Outside, a car engine started. Tanya glanced out the window. Cheryl's SUV backed out of her driveway, the taillights glowing red in the dusk. For a moment, they locked eyes through the glass. Cheryl's expression was unreadable. Fear, anger, something in between. Then she drove away. Tanya's phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. You don't know what you've started. Stop now before it gets worse. Tanya stared at the message, her pulse quickening. She walked to her front door, looked out at the dark, quiet street, and whispered to herself, or maybe it's just getting started. A quick question for you. What do you think Tanya will uncover next? And who's really behind the threats? The text message glowed on Tanya's phone like a warning flare. You don't know what you've started. Stop now before it gets worse. She read it twice, then a third time, her thumb hovering over reply. But she didn't type a single word. She'd learned silence could be louder than any argument. Instead, she screenshot the message and forwarded it to Renee, the journalist. Got this just now, she wrote. Renee responded almost instantly. Do not delete it. This might be connected to what I found. Tanya's pulse quickened. What exactly did you find? She typed. This time, the reply came slower. Let's just say your HOA isn't as clean as they pretend. I'm on my way. Don't talk to anyone. When Renee arrived an hour later, she wasn't alone. She had a folder tucked under her arm and a cameraman in tow. Tanya, she said, stepping inside, you're about to see why they want you quiet. The folder was thick, filled with printed documents and spreadsheets. At the top, Brookmere HOA Financial Records, 2022-2025. Renee laid them out across the dining table. I got these from a resident who used to handle bookkeeping. They show where all the HOA fees go. Notice anything? Tanya scanned the pages. Multiple line items listed under maintenance reimbursements, all signed off by one person, C. Donovan. Her jaw tightened. Cheryl! Over $60,000 in 3 years, Renee said quietly. And none of the receipts check out. We're talking bogus landscaping jobs, fake contractor names, even security patrol expenses. Probably those parked cars you saw outside your house. Tanya's eyes widened. She was using the HOA to fund her own paranoia? Exactly, Renee said. And the people you thought were watching you? They might have been hired by her. Tanya sat back, the weight of the truth settling over her. So the moment I spoke up, she panicked, Renee finished. Your video didn't just expose bias, it exposed her paper trail. That evening, Renee's story aired on the local news. The headline flashed across the screen. HOA misconduct under investigation. Allegations of fraud and harassment in Brookmere. The segment included Tanya's footage, the viral clip of Cheryl yelling, and new interviews with neighbors who admitted they'd been intimidated for years. By morning, the neighborhood was buzzing. Cars slowed in front of Tanya's house. Reporters gathered at the HOA office. And for the first time in years, Cheryl's perfect porch was empty. The next HOA meeting was standing room only. Residents filled the community hall, their murmurs thick with anger and disbelief. Tanya didn't want to go, but Renee insisted, "People need to see you there." The room fell quiet as Cheryl walked in. Her face was pale, her posture defensive, sunglasses perched like armor. Howard Briggs, the HOA president, cleared his throat. "Mrs. Donovan, you've been accused of serious misconduct." Cheryl cut him off. "This is a witch hunt. I've done nothing wrong. That woman," she pointed toward Tanya, "has been stirring everyone up for attention." A wave of disapproval rippled through the room. One neighbor stood up. "Attention? You called the police on her for washing her own car." Another added, "You fined me for putting a bench in my yard. Said it was non-compliant furniture." Dozens of voices joined in. Cheryl's expression cracked. She looked small now, swallowed by the very crowd she used to command. Howard raised a hand. "Enough. Mrs. Donovan, we've reviewed the financial statements. The discrepancies are undeniable." Cheryl turned red. "You think this proves anything? I built this community. Without me, it'll fall apart." Tanya finally stood. Her voice was calm, steady. "No, Cheryl. You didn't build this community, you controlled it, and now it's finally breathing again." The room erupted in applause. Howard waited for the noise to settle before speaking. "Effective immediately, Mrs. Donovan, you are removed from all HOA duties pending a full audit." For once, Cheryl had nothing to say. She grabbed her purse, turned, and stormed out, her heels clacking like punctuation marks. In the days that followed, the calm Tanya had once craved slowly returned. But it wasn't the same calm as before. It was deeper, earned. Neighbors who used to glance away now waved. Some stopped by to thank her. Others offered apologies. Even Howard came by with a small potted plant and an awkward smile. "For the record," he said, scratching his neck, "you did what most of us were too afraid to." Tanya smiled faintly. "Maybe now we'll all be a little braver." Weeks later, Renee invited Tanya to speak at a community forum about bias and accountability. Tanya hesitated. She wasn't an activist, she told herself. She was just a woman who wanted peace. But then she remembered that morning, the one where she was told to step away from her own car. She went. Standing before a small crowd in a church hall, she began. 3 months ago, I was accused of stealing something I worked for. It wasn't just a car. It was my peace, my dignity, my right to exist without suspicion." The room was silent. Every eye was on her. "I didn't fight back with anger," she continued. "I fought with truth, because sometimes the quietest voice can shake the loudest walls." When she finished, the applause wasn't loud. It was steady, heartfelt. A few people even stood. Renee smiled from the back row. The following morning, Tanya returned home to find a note on her doorstep. Her heart skipped. She'd seen too many ugly notes before, but when she opened it, she froze. It was from Cheryl's granddaughter, written in neat, careful handwriting. Ms. Rhodes, I wanted to say I'm sorry. My grandma isn't a bad person, just someone who forgot how to see people. Thank you for showing her and everyone else that kindness doesn't mean silence. Tanya pressed the paper to her chest. For the first time in a long while, her eyes filled, not with anger, but relief. She walked out to her driveway, the same one where everything had begun. The sun was bright, the air smelled like cut grass, and her car gleamed just like before. But this time, she didn't feel watched. She felt seen. She dipped her towel into the bucket, humming softly, the water rippling with the rhythm of peace. Her phone buzzed beside her, a message from Renee. The audit's done, Cheryl confessed. She's stepping away from the HOA permanently. Tanya smiled. It wasn't triumph she felt. It was closure. She looked up at the open street. No more shadows, no more whispers, and said quietly, "Finally." Life lesson. Real strength isn't about shouting or fighting back. It's about standing in truth when lies surround you. Sometimes, grace is the loudest form of justice. Question for you. If you were in Tanya's shoes, would you have stayed calm or fought back another way? Comment your answer below. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful real-life stories that remind us dignity speaks louder than hate.